Another week in AI and things are moving fast. Anthropic possibly IPOing in 2026. AWS is currently doing their reInvent conference and doing some big announcements about Bedrock. There's been some major announcements from Google with new releases for Gemini. Are we loving those? Are we hating those? We're going to talk about it here on the Context Window.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Context Window. My name's Tracy, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts today, Brandon Mathis, AD Slaton, and we are all from This.Labs. So there has been so much stuff happening this week in AI. Oh my goodness.
It's like as soon as you go on break or holiday, things just pile up and pile up. Like you just can't take a break for a moment.
Is that what you think? You think like the AI was like working through the holidays because it could, and just all of a sudden there's like millions of releases?
Yes. I mean, if these model creators are smart, they would have their agents working constantly.
Oh, they definitely are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because imagine, like, all right, Gemini 3 came out, and this, like, short time after, Opus 4.5 came out. So it's like, they're working hard.
Yeah. Everyone's like in each other's rearview mirror, right?
Yeah. But that's the excitement. So Amazon's big conference is happening right now. reInvent, AWS. Is it Amazon or AWS?
It's AWS reInvent. And so far, they've announced a number of things, like Claude 4.5. All those models are in Bedrock now. So if your organization is leveraging Bedrock, you should be able to allow your organization to use the Claude 4.5 models.
That was definitely a big sort of just issue generally, right, with Bedrock and
yes, but they're ahead of the game now, so which is good.
Yeah, good for them, because I would say like most of our customers that we work with to like do AI enablement, they are looking at Bedrock as like the location to deploy their LLM. So that's been kind of like a shaky thing to work with. You know, we get it done, but glad to see that they're focusing some improvements on that, because
the beauty of Bedrock is you get that observability of like who's actually using the models. You can turn models on and off. Right, you actually get that observability that enterprises really want by just using like an LLM gateway like Bedrock versus going direct to like Anthropic or OpenAI. So it's good to see that these LLM gateways are gaining traction.
I've definitely seen some people complain about the performance issues with using Bedrock. Have you seen the same thing, AD? You're shaking your head, yes. So.
Yes. Like there's simple things that they've caught up now where we wanted to look at like the context, see how much context window, like the context / command wasn't working for quite some time. And then you have to do the authentication, right? We set up Bedrock to use AWS refresh, and it's using the Claude setup and settings out JSON to automatically have people authenticate through Bedrock. But sometimes Bedrock, you can get a connection closed. It's just things like that can be slower than necessary, right? Because you got to think there are more hops. You go into AWS, then you go into Anthropic, then you coming back,
for
right?
Sure. And latent, and so have all those problems been solved now, or is that what they said at AWS reInvent?
Actually, AWS solves problems to create problems.
Okay. What about Kero? I didn't see the news on Kero, but I know that reInvent announced something about Kero.
Well, they're announcing like more adoption now. What I'm seeing here is they're making it available, but I don't know too much about what exactly they're doing with Kero. I don't see any news about that.
I mean, Brandon, you and I did that little Kero, Kero intro, which. It is interesting to sort of see how different agents are all sort of convening around the same idea. This idea that like, hey, you need to be more spec driven, you need to be more specific, and everybody's having their sort of own little approach to how they're forcing or suggesting this type of standard.
Yeah, Kero definitely, I think the people on the Kero team definitely aren't scared of doing things a little different than how everyone else is sort of doing these agentic code editors. I mean, from like their pricing model is one thing. I know at reInvent, they're going to they had a brief statement on their summary about a thing called Kero Powers they want to like create this new. This isn't like a phrase that I've heard before when it comes to agentic editor. So they're making up this thing now, and they're going to call it powers. I don't know if that means MCP models that you plug in, or multiple ones, or like a combination of agents and a lot of different things. But I think that like if you want a really different take on how some of these agentic editors can be made, I would definitely say to check Kero out, because I mean, all the way down to their pricing model, they do things a little bit differently. But you know,
So I'm looking at the I'm sharing my screen. This is my first screen share.
yeah, man.
Ooh.
The only mention from AWS so far about Kero is they've AWS unveils 3 frontier agents, and Kero is just one of them. So they're just saying, hey, Kero is now your virtual developer for your team. So it should be all the sugar that Brendan talks about that should be included in that. But that's no other mention of Kero.
Yeah.
We'll be back to the episode in a second, but first, I'd like to acknowledge the team behind the channel, This.Labs. We're seeing 3x to 5x productivity improvements with our teams and clients using tools like Cursor, Claude Code, and GitHub Copilot. We help teams adopt these technologies and get max value out of them through strategic partnerships, trainings, and other software engineering services. Check us out at ai.this.co. Thanks, now back to the video.
Well, yay, frontier agents. What else about AWS? Any sort of drama?
No, I don't know if there's any like drama. I do see one other thing where AWS is they're touting their EC2 is now being powered by Nvidia GPUs. Oh, that is significant.
Yeah, there we
Right?
go. That's
So-
why we saw. I'm just joking, but like we saw. Did everybody see like a jump in Nvidia stock last week by the insiders, the insider trading, or have we seen a jump for Nvidia stock today?
Maybe. I'm a longtime Nvidia stockholder, so I say go for it, guys.
Yeah.
Ditto.
You bought in at 50 cents a share, Brandon?
Yes, like a really long time ago, back when it was about like GPUs to farm Bitcoin, I was like, oh man, this company is going to be huge, because the entire financial industry is going to be built on top of their computer chips. Was like, you need GPUs, Nvidia makes them, and so I bought some stock, and I was wrong. I was wrong, but like not in a bad way, because people are using them for something different.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Nvidia won. Period. Nvidia won during that and during this. Okay. Anthropic IPO.
Oh,
Anthropic
so
is
what's
up
the
to some
latest?
stuff. Yeah.
They are now. The question is like they're fast approaching. I'm I feel like I'm in like a screen sharing like frenzy.
I know.
I love it, man, dude. I love it.
They're loving it.
Yeah, give me
So-
the download, man. I know you're the expert on this. Like, I was
So
surprised to hear this news.
So they're shooting for a 2025 IPO, and as you
Jeez.
see here, yes, they're looking for.
2025?
I'm sorry, 2026. This is according to Financial Times.
Right.
I was a year off, but they're looking for funding, right, in regards to like how do we initialize. So in this article, that talks about who they're working with, and they're looking to have the largest IPO in history.
300 billion. They're looking for 300 billion in funding to get the IPO going.
Yes.
What? Wait. Anthropic is weighing a massive IPO while also exploring fresh private funding over the $300 billion mark. Okay. So either like one or the other. God, they need so much money. What are we doing here? Like, where is this
All
money
those
coming from?
All those GPUs and TPUs, right? All that compute power.
This is like Nvidia. It's like, okay, Nvidia, like, we'll give you all of our money because we need you to run our stuff. And then also, Nvidia, can you now reinvest that into? So basically, Nvidia is going to take over the world, is really what we're understanding here. So when do they take over?
Hold on, maybe AMD or Intel. Yeah, AMD is making a comeback. Intel is making a play now.
Yeah. Well, I wish I'd bought Nvidia stock, I suppose. Damn it. Damn you, Brandon.
Hey,
I remember when they
it's not
IPO'd.
too late. It's you can get that Anthropic stock. It's going to come out any moment. You should totally buy it day one. It's not going to go down, because if you know anything about tech IPOs over the past, I would say 8 years, I can't count too many that have gone extremely well. So
No, you don't think so?
Yeah, I mean it's been I don't want to go too off topic, but like the act of IPOing, I just haven't I haven't seen that many companies like IPO and then like blow up in this really big way. I don't know. It seems to net like more problems than it does solve them. But I mean, if what you're looking to do is get a massive infusion of cash,
Yeah.
then I guess that's what needs to happen because Anthropic is a big, I mean, they are a research and science oriented company that became an AI company that needed to build engineering tools,
Yeah.
but they still have those origins. So I mean, I predict that they have like a lot of staff that they need to hire in order to keep up with, I mean, companies like Microsoft and Google that, I mean, are kind of just right in the rear view mirror about to surpass them in terms of becoming like, you know, the preferred tool. I still use Anthropic models and Claude Code to, you know, do the agentic code editing every single day. But Google and Gemini are catching up. They're catching up. So
I don't know about Gemini, man.
maybe it's more servers though,
I mean,
right?
I feel
Yeah, I
the
mean
same way, but I'm sure Google will find its own way to whatever. But I will say it's interesting because whenever I use Gemini, if I need a really fast response, it'll give me a really fast response. But then when I start working with Gemini on their, I think it's like their more thinking model, it is so slow. Or maybe it's Nano Banana that's really slow.
mm,
It's like it's weird because Gemini can be either incredibly fast, like super fast, faster than ChatGPT, or it's slower than all hell. And like
mhm.
what's going on there?
There are two things going on that I'm aware of.
Mhm.
Is you would think Google can handle the scale of the traffic. I'm constantly getting like API like overload, like there's too
Really?
many requests. Yes,
No way.
constantly,
Huh. Well,
right? That's a big problem. If I'm working with it, I'm with you. Like Gemini, it's initially it's doing a good job, and
hmm
then all of a sudden I get API errors. I get 400 responses. I get the API can't handle the load. So
yeah.
there's a lot of infrastructure things that Google has to get right. You would think it's Google,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but those are the major pain points, and it makes it slower. And I just put it down at the point, and then I just use Gemini just like a reviewer. I don't
Yeah.
use it to code
Interesting.
because it doesn't satisfy my need as an engineer
Huh.
for everyday tool.
I don't know if I would use Gemini. I don't know if I would trust Gemini as a reviewer. I would trust GPT more so as a reviewer than I would trust Gemini. But I do like lean on Gemini for smaller things. Speaking of which, we talk a lot on this podcast about how AI helps developers code. We talk a lot about new tools that are coming out and everything. But in just my day to day, so I had to put together this presentation and these days I'll use ChatGPT to sort of like outline and then workshop something with me, right? Like, hey, help me say this better, et cetera, et cetera. And what was insane to me is I can actually, now that ChatGPT apps are out, it will just straight up connect to Canva and like, I can go straight into Canva and just created a presentation for me. And it'll create like 3 different types of presentations that I can choose. And I open a Canva and it's there. So that's one option. And then another option is I actually use Gemini and I just say like, hey, create this based on, this styling, and it'll actually do quite well. I think the problem with Gemini is it's not like 100% reliable and it won't 100% do what you want it to do. So it's still a little bit wonky, and it's so
Mm.
weird because sometimes it'll say it'll create a slide for me, and sometimes it'll create an image for me, and sometimes it'll say it did something and then it didn't, and it'll have the same output. So there's just like all these like little weird intricacies or whatever. But it saves, I mean, even working through all those things, it saves hours and hours of time, like weeks on end. So
I found it to be very great, very good at image generation, like Nano Banana.
mhm.
Like so, when I mean reviews, like I'll have if I'm writing a article or something and I need images, I'm like, hey Gemini, read this article, suggest some images. All right, now let's create the image because it's really good at that. Now I'll use ChatGPT, like, all right, ChatGPT, let's just validate the references and make sure that the data is what it is. All right, Claude. Now let's just look at the whole thing in totality. All right, now that I have all your 3 viewpoints, now all 3 of you work together to make sure it meets everything that I'm talking about. Right, so that's just for an article. You can do that with anything. You can do that with code. You can do that with product requirements document. You can do that with QA. You can do that with testing. You can
It
do
is
that in all kind of places.
it is kind of crazy also how Gemini will straight up integrate into your Google Suite. So like if you're you know, for example, if you ask it to create slides, I know, you know, with ChatGPT you can use Canva, but it'll create Google Slides for you. And it'll just say, hey, view the Google Slides. It'll open Google Slides and it'll just be there. Or it's like, oh, do you want me to create a doc for you? And it'll create a spreadsheet, or it's created spreadsheets for me, or it'll just create like a Word doc for me. Well, Word doc, a Google doc, I suppose. But it's kind of magical, to be honest.
So
Brendan,
now
yeah,
you're hitting on something that I want to get both of your opinions on.
yeah.
Now, you know, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, we were into all this, you know, heavy prompting, prompt engineering. Like, hey, you need to make sure you do all these. It's still valid, right? Now, don't get me wrong, but with all these more powerful models, how relevant is prompt engineering? I'm just curious to get your opinion on that.
I guess you just have to sort of like define it. It's like, what is prompt engineering and what is vibe coding, right? Like those words these days, like what do they actually even mean? Um, I feel like when we initially started talking about, okay, no, like prompt engineering is dead, it was because it was basically saying like, you should start using AI agents and not thinking about, gosh, like even a few months ago, right? It was like, oh, let me like create a really good prompt with these 10 different requirements. And like, I need to memorize and copy paste these things. And, you know, a lot of companies that we work with, right, which I think is still valid, are creating prompt libraries, you know, maybe just to even like fast track or whatever. But I think the reality, at least the way I see it, is like, okay, prompting isn't just everything, you know, but it is it's not like you talking to AI is not still relevant. I don't know how you see it, Brandon.
I mean, I think we started initially with this discipline by creating a discipline called prompt engineering when GPT came out, and the only way that you could interface with an AI or like get it to do something specific is you prompted it and you typed out this long paragraph and you dropped it into this text channel. Now you can like link it to directories, you can, you know, upload files, and it's like prompt engineering is now context engineering. Like it's not this like, you know, oh, I'm gonna write this like really good master prompt and then I'm gonna give it to everyone and like, hey, like
I see.
paste this into ChatGPT to do XYZ. Like now people are calling those roles of an agent. Like we're getting, I think we're just kind of getting like a little bit more mature with like breaking things up into segments. So I think it's going to be less and less common that people say like, oh yeah, I'm a prompt engineer. You know, I don't see that as like a role. I would find it very strange if like, you know, companies started being like, oh, we're hiring prompt engineers. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like that's like you're hiring a Googler, you know,
I
like,
see. Yeah, but then I think another thing that I still see at the executive level, who, you know, for technical and non-technical leaders, it's, hey, you know, I do need to get better at prompting. I do need to get better at utilizing this tool, right? Like they're not necessarily native yet to utilizing the tool, which I think is, you know, is I mean, it's something we like to solve obviously at this stop, but it's something that is, gosh, it's like riding a bike.
It is, and you get better with practice.
Yeah.
And what I talk to our clients about is just keep playing with the tool, keep talking to the tool, right? Yes, you can go learn how to write a better prompt. Just start talking with it and understanding what it can do, right? I think that's the best advice that we can give people to start. Like if you're scared of it, you don't know what to do, just talk to it.
Yeah, it's really weird because like if you, I've been in it like 24/7 for the past like let's say 2 weeks or something like that, right? And it's so weird because like, okay, you know, in ChatGPT I'm creating a project and then I'm like talking to it, but then like for some reason it's like getting confused or mixed up within that project. It's like referencing things within that project that I don't want it to reference. So I'm like, okay, let me start a fresh new window and then do that. Or like, oh, okay, like it's too confused. Let me just go to you know, because you're using it as a brainstorming thing, right? Like you're not using it as a, or at least for me, I'm not using it as like I'm telling it what to do, if you know what I mean. And so then I'll use Gemini for just like a fresh break, if you will. So it's like, it's like, oh, I'm figuring out how to work with my new teammate. I'm figuring out what it needs. I'm figuring out like what it can and can't do and how I need to randomly manipulate it, which is like, oh, start a new chat. Don't put it in a project. Put it in a project for this reason. Okay, use Gemini for this reason. Which again, it's so funny because I remember last week, AD, I was like, oh my God, I've entered the AD phase. Because earlier on this year, AD, you were like, yeah, I use this and this and this and like these different. And I'm like, why? I just use ChatGPT. And now I'm like, whoa, this is better.
And, yeah, I have to, oftentimes I have to like step back because I see things early. It's just been that way, and I have to kind of like let things catch up. Like seriously, like I have to stop talking sometimes, right? Because I see things and I have to be like, all right, let me just get the foundations and let people understand, just coach people, and then we can start getting to the advance. Because I'm doing other things now outside of just having multi-models talk to each other.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's another level, but I'm trying to get everybody, and that's partly why we have our workshops at this dot.
Oh yeah,
And
that's true.
I encourage you to join our next session.
Yeah.
And we talk about these things. This is why we do that, right? To get everybody caught up.
Yeah. We are going to be having, for the workshops, we are going to be, in 2026, they are going to be every month. And so if you want to hang out with AD every month and like learn about AI, they're going to be remote, in person in Atlanta too, we think. But I think everybody's thinking maybe like remote is better. The engagement is better, right? Like you're working on your laptop, if you will. But yeah, check it out, ai.thisdot.co/workshops. And I forgot one other piece of news, which I feel like we have to say, because, coming from the JavaScript community, it's such a big win. Anthropic acquired Bun JavaScript. So it's a little baby Asian bun. I don't know what it is. Like is it a barbecue pork bun? It's a meat bun. I would assume it's stuffed with meat, maybe red beans. I don't know, but they got acquired.
There's JavaScript inside.
Yeah. Well, what flavor is JavaScript though? Like,
yeah,
meat.
Little sour, a little sweet, I would say.
Meat or red bean, or maybe it's the salty egg yolk bun.
Yeah,
Yum.
maybe that.
Okay. Well, anyways, it more looks like a meat bun because it has like the little thing, but
it's impossible meat. That's what it is.
Okay. What have you guys been learning in your projects lately? Like, how have you guys sort of leveled up on AI this week?
So I'll go first. So recently, I've been working on a ETL project where some executives need some numbers, right? They need to understand what's going on with the business. So I was working with the team, and we worked out this mapping, using Claude. So we got the Claude and things worked out. However, it wasn't fine enough, right? It kept missing fields and some of the mapping. So thankfully, Claude and Anthropic released skills. So now I worked with the team and we created 3 skills where when we're running the / command, it's called create mapping. So when you create this mapping, it has these skills that knows how to relate certain fields. So as it's asking questions to the user of what the mappings are, it can do it. So effectively, we've been leveraging skills, all right, which is a new frontier from a Claude perspective in the project, right? So we went from / commands, and we were doing agents.
It's called Claude Code Skills or Claude Skills.
It's called Claude Skills.
Okay.
And so it's a way of giving your agents repeated behavior, right? So you don't have to prompt certain things over and over. And this goes back to what Brendan is saying, like, you don't need these gigantic prompts. Like if you have these different features in the tools, like a skill where it's effectively like me as AD, and I learned how to play baseball, and I'm like the best catcher, right? So now I'm a catcher. So I have a catcher skill. That's effectively what these agents are getting. And that's where Anthropic is built, right? So you can train not necessarily train, but you can have your setup where you have these skills. You can have all kinds of skills. And even there's skill libraries out there now where you can actually give your agent skills to do. Like if you wanted to be the best PDF writer in the world, a PDF like decoder in the world, you have that skill now.
Like,
You don't
shouldn't
have
it
to say,
just have that? So it's like, it's almost like this whole like idea of like SLMs inside LLMs or something like.
sort of, but it doesn't. The beauty of it is like if you have a MCP or whatever prompts, they eat up your context window. Skills are used as needed, right? So
Oh, makes sense,
it
makes
doesn't.
sense. Yeah.
So, yeah. So if like you say, if I'm like saying create a mapping, that create mapping is expecting certain things. So then Claude would know, hey, I need to use these certain skills when I do
Okay.
create mapping.
And we have like literally entered the matrix. The reference that I think about is the whole like, I know Kung Fu, right? He puts that head thing on and he's like, I know Kung Fu. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Now we need to figure out how to get that like into us as, I mean, maybe it goes into those what are those called? The what are the glasses called from Meta? You know,
What, the
the
VR
AI glasses.
Oh,
Yeah, the
I
Meta
don't-
Ray-Bans, right?
Are they just called Meta?
I thought we just
Ray-Ban?
called them Meta glasses. That's what I've been calling them. Meta glasses.
glasses?
Yeah, Meta
Okay.
glasses.
That's so
Yeah,
like,
it's Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
but you know, it's kind of like that, right? It's like, oh, you can, you know, understand all the skills or like know Japanese and it like shows up in your whatever, but it's going to be crazy to see how like, I mean, they've got to be doing experiments, right? Of like figuring out how to like implant chips into your brain so that you get this information.
I hope not, but yeah.
That's true. It would be a little bit scary, but I do feel like that's potentially a reality in the future. Brandon,
Yeah,
what
so
about
you can have a skills library. Like I said, there's skills library popping up now where you can just say, hey, I want my agents to be able to do X, Y, Z. Then you can, and you don't have to write all these giant prompts, right? They just know it, right? You can write a slash command and it point to a skill.
Yeah. I want to be like, you know, can you imagine dating and just being like, I need you to be funnier?
Plug the
Yes,
skill in.
You can have a Richard Pryor skill,
Yeah.
right? Or Eddie Murphy skill.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love that. I remember when do you guys remember Ember add-ons? So like
Oh yes.
the first Ember add-on I created was this like this thing where like it was like you could click coins and like little Mario coins would pop out of your mouse. I mean, the most useful thing ever, but that's how I would be using skills.
That's a skill.
Yeah. Brandon, what about you?
I mean, when it comes to actually using AI agents to write code, I mean, I've been staying like pretty close, I think, to Claude Code, and I've been getting a lot of good results out of that. But like, MCPs have still been a thing. Like, I mean, I know we talked about this in the last podcast, but like, I mean, there have been even more developments around like how people are feeling about MCPs. And I've been just trying to get myself more and more and more familiarized about MCPs, how to define them. There's been a lot of complaints about, oh, you know, I connect to an MCP and all of a sudden a bunch of tool calls are loaded into context. So Anthropic did drop an interesting article about like an enhancement to the standard that they want to do. I think they're really trying to like zero in on a way to have an MCP that an agent can connect to, and when it connects, to not throw every tool that MCP has and the documentation on how to use those tools like at the agent. They're trying to like provide a mechanism to make it a bit more selective, make it a little bit more advanced on how to do that. So I've been doing a lot of research in how to get that done, but I don't have any like tangible results just yet. But like, it's just weird to see, like, at one point you were like, oh man, MCPs, this is crazy, like genius, smart, like I love this. I can just like connect my coding agent to the Playwright MCP and it can control my browser now. But now everyone's like, nah, like I keep hearing this, no, MCP should just like go away. It's not a good idea. We should go back to the coding thing. So I've just been like, over the past 2-3 weeks, I've been keeping an eye on that conversation, really is where I've been spending my time.
I feel like this goes back to this whole like, you know, being on the ArcGIS core team, right? It's like, oh, ArcGIS has no value, but it's like, okay, well, if you're not working on a really large scale enterprise app and you don't need to be like multiplexing over a WebSocket or something like that, like, yeah, of course, you do not care about ArcGIS, right? But if you're doing complex things, you do. And I think it's the same that goes for MCP. Like, I feel like, I mean, we do want this reality where MCP is just like it's the new API, But then I think as it's being rolled out and as people are using it, they're like, do I really need this for XYZ reason? I think it will win for like people who sort of like need more security and governance, but I don't know, AD. You're like,
meh. Meh. Now, if we combine the MCP with a skill, that would be a game changer. Right? And the intent of the skill is to not bloat your context window. That's one of the benefits, right? Now, if MCPs can support skills, then it could smartly bring in the tools. That would change it. Then if you add in the OAuth 2.1, right, smart authentication, you'll have something, right? But MCP is a developer tool. I mean, that's the thing about it. It was built for developers, right, to get work done. And just like anything with technology, everybody wants to use it, and now we gotta enhance it. And I think that's where we're stuck, right? And that's where you get all the feedback.
I mean, that's just like I like going along on that journey because I kind of like to see. I mean, I like to watch a new product get introduced into the market or a new concept, and a lot of people rush to love it, and then shortly behind that, there's a lot of naysayers. And I mean, just the overall mix, I feel like just develops a better standard overall. But I don't think we're headed to a future where there's going to be like no MCP whatsoever. Like, I definitely think there's a demand out there for the ability to have a coding agent, and in the moment you're in flow state, you're like, man, it will be really nice if I could just query GitHub. You don't need to stop what you're doing and do a yak shave operation to make code that calls the GitHub API directly. Yes, I know that CLI exists, but like, I mean, for sake of the example, imagine that it doesn't, because not every, product that you want to integrate or platform you want to integrate with has like a really awesome, CLI. Jira, for instance, right? So, I mean, I definitely think there's a need for one, but I have been like warning devs. I mean, I gave a talk in a meetup very recently, and I just kind of gave them like all the devs in the room, like a very stern warning. Just like know what you're doing before you just start connecting to every single MCP willy-nilly. They're all not made evenly. They're all not made the same. Just know that we're really early in this, but I've been studying up on that topic. There's a lot going on around about it. Anthropic, they're the ones that created the standard. They're trying to do IPO, and so they got this negative topic going on around this really technical standard that they created. So it's I
don't know if Anthropic cared though about like, oh, we're the ones, blah blah blah. They just saw a market need. At least internally, that's how I feel. So I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I think they just saw a need. I don't think Anthropic is trying to make the MCP standard like a major piece of business IP that only they do. I think they're being super open about it, and they've responded really quickly to some of the negative feedback. But we're gonna keep an eye on that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, y'all, it's just humans. Open source, AI, it's all just humans, I guess, and AI too. It's all just humans at the end of the day, just like working, trying to build stuff, trying to figure it out. So I always say I have a little bit of empathy too for the people who are behind it. Like, I don't know if the Anthropic team thought like MCP would become such a big deal. I guess they were trying to set a standard, but I don't think it was like
So something that's less AI related. I know we're an AI podcast, but you mentioned something. You mentioned open source, and recently I came upon another article in regards to how KubeCon was just here in Atlanta, and there's an open source project that's going to affect everybody who's on Kubernetes. I mean, like everybody's called Ingress NGINX, and there's an open source project that handles all the ingress. And it's open source, and the contributors are going to stop. And they've been saying this for 2 years. So they're going to stop contributing to it, maintenance and everything. This is a good opportunity.
Nobody's acquiring, like, who owns NGINX?
I forget who owns it, but it's a module. The module is called Ingress NGINX, but it's all inside of Kubernetes. It's some, I have to look at this article again, but
that'll be solved.
No, what I'm saying is, no, it won't, right? Because they've been saying this for 2 years. No one's contributed to it. What I'm trying to convey is this is an opportunity to leverage AI right? To if you can teach it what this is, right? Then we don't have to lean on these people to work on the weekends after hours. So the people who are actually building this critical piece of functionality that the internet relies on, they do it on the weekends. They do it as a side project. All I'm saying is open source projects like this can benefit from like leveraging AI tools. That's what I'm getting at. Because this is gonna break something.
Yeah. That's no, it'll be solved. It'll be solved. I mean, our friends over at Hero Devs support legacy software, right? So I feel like they would just go ahead and like adopt NGINX. I feel like, I mean, because it's end of life open source, you know. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Because our other friends over at Narwhal also adopted a company or like an open source project that was about to die. I can't remember which one it was, but
so we need someone to adopt this today.
Yeah. I'm sure these guys are on it though.
I hope so.
I'm sure yeah.
It's been 2 years.
I mean, this has been a problem. I mean, this has been a problem that's been playing out over and over again. But like AD, I agree with you, man. Like, this is why I'm bullish on AI. Like, there's a lot of code out there that needs to be written. And I'm not like, I mean, everyone's like, yeah, and there's so many engineers and they're all there. Well, I mean, you know, like this stuff has to get built. People use it. I don't think there's any reason why AI can't, if it can't like solve specifically the problem of like maintaining NGINX Ingress, then maybe the people that are maintaining it, AI can help them solve something else so they can have some time to do it. Like no one steps away from projects like this. Like, I'm so glad to be, you know, it's like a passion project you worked on for a while, but over time, like your desire to work on it just like erodes and erodes as you get like more negative feedback from randos on the internet asking you to support functionality that you're not interested in supporting. They don't want to compensate you in any way. It's savage to be an open source maintainer out there. So again, that's why I'm bullish on AI. I think like it's going to actually like help maintainers. It's about time someone started helping some maintainers already, you know? I mean,
Yeah. And next episode, one thing I want to open with is if 20% or more of costs need to be cut with the use of AI, meaning 20% of developers need to be cut from budget, and executives are thinking like, this is why AI is useful. What does that mean for us? So hot take, you know, if you're on video, you see AD's face, but
I got a response. Those executives need to increase revenue by 20%. This is not how economics works. We don't. Everything isn't an endless cogs exercise.
Conversation for next week. I will be keynoting GitCon next week. So it's a free conference online. Definitely check it out. I'm going to be keynoting the second day, which is more the leadership track, talking about AI. So excited if I'll see you there. Thank you all. Check us out, ai.this.co, and we'll see you next time.